When did your parents' toxic favoritism finally come back to bite them? Growing up, my mom treated my older brother, Kyle, like an absolute king. He could do no wrong. Me, I was basically the backup child. But it all hit a breaking point when my wealthy grandfather passed away. At the family dinner after the funeral, my mom stood up and made a huge announcement. She told 30 of our relatives that Grandpa's entire house and savings were going straight to Kyle. Her reasoning? She claimed that in this state, an oldest male heir automatically inherits everything if there's a verbal promise. She even passed around a printed document, literally typed in Comic Sans, that supposedly proved this law. My aunts and uncles were actually nodding along. Kyle was sitting there, smirking like he just won the lottery. That's when I realized I had completely forgotten what I do for a living. I'm a probate paralegal. I took a sip of my drink, stood up, and said, "That's wild, Mom," because the Male Heir Act was abolished in the literal 1800s. The entire room went dead silent. My mom's smug smile completely vanished. I pulled up the actual state probate statutes on my phone and passed it to my uncle. Then I dropped the hammer. I explained that Grandpa's actual, legally binding will, which my firm drafted, split everything strictly 50-50 between me and Kyle. Mom turned bright red. She grabbed my arm, and then she pulled me into the kitchen. Hard. "Do you have any idea how hard it is to protect this family when you constantly undermine me?" she hissed. "Kyle has massive debts. He needs this." When I told her I wasn't backing down, she literally kicked me out of the house. Yeah, it gets worse. 2 days later, my law firm gets a certified fax. It's a renunciation of inheritance form, supposedly signed by me, legally handing my 50% share directly over to Kyle. But that wasn't even the worst part. She actually used my own law firm's forged letterhead to try and steal $200,000 from me. So I didn't call her. I called the state fraud department. A week later, Mom and Kyle were sitting in a mediator's office facing a state investigator. When confronted with the forged signature, Kyle completely panicked. He immediately threw Mom under the bus. She did it. I had nothing to do with it. Mom just sat there sobbing, saying it was what Grandpa would have wanted. Yeah, no, Mom lost her position as the estate executor immediately. She was legally forced to pay all my attorney fees just to avoid a felony fraud charge. Now, Kyle isn't even speaking to her, and she's legally barred from touching a single cent of the family's money. Honestly, she should have just checked my LinkedIn.